Okay, folks, we're going to be kicking off here in just a second. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday wherever you are this beautiful fall day. Okay, so without further ado, some of you may already know me. I'm Justin Emig, your Director of Marine Dealer Relations here at IDS Marine. With me, we have our Senior Data Innovation Manager and Resident Data Guru, Don Miller. And today we're going to learn about leadership insights. And leadership insights is what I would like to call an imagination breakthrough tool. This gives you that power of data. And Don's going to be demonstrating that. Don has been with Constellation for north of 15 years now, so he knows data inside and out. This is what he does on his weekends and nights. So he's going to be showing us all these great things that we have to offer here within Leadership Insights. A few housekeeping items to keep mind of. First and foremost, there is a Q&A window. Please feel free to go ahead and enter questions at any point during today's presentation. We will be answering those questions towards the end of the presentation. The other thing is we will be going ahead and emailing off a link for this recording after the conclusion of today's webinar. One other item, this helps us keep ourselves honest and do a better job next time. There will be a survey window that pops at the end of this presentation, so please do give us feedback, good, bad, and ugly. We love it all. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor off to Don Miller.
Thank you, Justin. Can you hear me okay, sir?
We can.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Today I get to show off one of my crown jewels, as I like to call it. It's kind of a pet project that has grown over the last year and a half. But before we get into that, let's just get through the slide here. I'm Don Miller, like I said, I'm Data Innovation Manager. I've been with IDS, like I said, for north of 15 years. Prior to that was another almost 15 years of consulting automotive dealers in how to look at a data-driven dealership. So it's close to 33 years almost total working with dealers and data. So it is my passion. It is something that I take very seriously, and my main goal is to always be able to get data where you can use it and make it actionable for you. So one of the things that was brought up before we get it, Webster defines data as factual information used as a basis for reasoning, discussion, or calculation. Data mining has been defined as the extraction of implicitly, previously unknown, and potentially useful information from data. The data is there. Your data points are stored in your DMS. They're there. It's just a matter of being able to get to them and use them. Your data is like gold. You need to mine it as often as you can to find those nuggets that are going to save you time and money. But with DMSs, ours included, a lot of that information can be a problem to accumulate and consolidate. Pulling data from multiple sources is very time consuming. If you've got multiple locations and you want to look at departmental results over time, you've got 3 or 4 departments in each location, you've got 5 locations, that creates a stack of spreadsheets that you need to consolidate and put together and then distribute it to the stakeholders. So it can be a very time-consuming effort. Data is often outdated due to delayed exports and refresh cycles, because it can take a while to get that information pulled together, and it's usually once a week or maybe even once a month that type of stuff is pulled together to be used in your spreadsheets. Difficult to maintain data security and access controls. Spreadsheets are great. Excel is a wonderful tool, but there's not a lot of security involved in those. And if it's just on a spreadsheet on your desktop and sent in emails, it does lack a lot of the security that's needed in today's market. Reactive reporting limits the strategic decision making. When you're reacting to last month's reports or even last quarter's reports, this month is coming up close to halfway over. And if you're looking at last month's stuff, it can delay those decision making abilities. Static visuals make it hard to explore trends or drill into specifics. I've seen a lot of the spreadsheets our dealers use, and they've got some really good looking graphics included with some nice charts and tables and line graphs and all kinds of stuff, but they're very static. You can see a trend, but you can't click on it and do anything with it. It is what it is. So I was tasked about 1.5 years ago to come up with a tool or a platform that would enable our dealers to be able to use their data more efficiently. So Leadership Insights was born, and its biggest claim to fame is that it accesses the dealership DMS data directly. Your DMS data it is synced up every night to the BI tables. So the Leadership Insights reports are data up through the end of business yesterday. So almost as real time as you can get. We leveraged Microsoft's Power BI tool to be able to visualize that data and distribute the data to the appropriate dealerships and personnel. With the Power BI tool, you get some great BI dashboards, and the advantages of those BI dashboards is it's automated refresh cycles. Like I said, it's cycled. Your data is synced up every night. In the morning, the BI reports are refreshed, looking at that data through the end of the day yesterday, and it's all automated, obviously, so it takes out the issue of human error. Excuse me. Role-based access enhances data security relevance. The Leadership Insights reports are broken into the individual departments. So we've got a report for sales and inventory. We've got a report for service and parts, and a financial report, an AR and AP report, and so forth, so that those can be assigned to the specific people in those departments. So you can have a sales manager that accesses the sales and inventory report, but can't see the financial report. So it gives you that extra layer of security that you need. And it's all multi-factor authentication. It's all web-based where you can see it from anywhere, but that security is really tight, and especially with Microsoft's take on security. It can be a pain sometimes, but it's there for a reason to keep that information where it needs to be. Direct access to the DMS, again, ensures decisions are based on current performance, not last month or last quarter. Its centralized reporting eliminates version control and data silos. You have a centralized reporting tool, so it's your sole source of truth, so to speak. So it really comes in handy that way. And of course, interactive visuals allow users to drill down and explore trends dynamically. And you will see that in just a moment, because I'm about to share my screen, and we're going to take a look at these individual reports. We're going to start off with one of my favorite ones. It's the Key Insights report, and this provides the dealers with a 10,000-foot overview, so to speak, of the operation. This report was designed to be emailed as a PDF to the stakeholders at the dealership. Typically, somebody that's going to have access to all the reports would get this report every Monday morning in an email. So they don't even have to log in or anything. It's just there for them every Monday morning. The first page, it's a simple 2-page report. The first page reviews the major departments and looks at a year-over-year comparison. I've got this set for looking at this calendar year, January 1st through yesterday, September 9th. So they can compare this year to last year and see how they're doing for the year in the major areas. First section, sales and F&I, year-over-year review. Each section is broken out so you can see the individual departments, and they each have, hence the name, key insights for those major KPIs. So in the sales and inventory, we're looking at number of retail units, retail sales, revenue from the sales, gross profit from the sales. On the F&I side, we take just a quick look at finance penetration, average profit per deal, and obviously the total F&I profit. And they can look at that on an individual store, or they can look at it as a group, just like you're seeing here. It gives you a couple more key insights of who had the biggest sale, who had the biggest back end. On the service side, it gives you those key insights again. Your work order volume is up. This dealer group, by the way, is a real group. We've made it very autonomized, so you can't really see who it is, but they're having an outstanding year. Work order volume's up. Rec days actually increased just a little bit, just 4 days slower. And then work order gross profit, excluding parts with labor and extras, is up quite a bit, obviously. Parts, key insights, again, you're getting the top work order that was done during this period and the largest counter invoice that was produced during this period, and how you're doing in fixed ops year over year. This group, again, is up 20% in fixed ops, up 18% in sales variable, and their expenses are down just a little bit as well. So they're, like I said, they're just really having a good year. And you can see that very quickly from this. There's a lot of green on here, so which obviously is the improvements. The red kind of highlights the conditional formatting, kind of highlights where the areas of attention might need to be. And this group is seeing an increase in their semi-fixed expenses, so it might be something they want to take a little bit closer look at. Page 2 of this report, again, this is that 10,000 foot overview, but it gives you a quick look at the inventory and asset levels across the group as well. So you can see what your new and used inventory is. Again, we've got those key insights giving you a rundown of how this year's inventory compared to last year's inventory, what your equity position looks like, what your month supply looks like, what's your oldest unit in stock, so forth. So it gives you that quick rundown and then breaks down the inventory by age brackets, so you can see where the inventory is getting old at and which lot location is getting old at. Parts inventory, same situation. You see the parts inventory by months brackets, by age and by location, and a couple of quick insights just to give you some areas to look into. And then obviously receivables and payables, same thing. Key insights, so you can get those quick ones. No contracts in transit over 10 days old. This group only has $3,500 in warranty accounts receivable over 90 days old. Vehicle AR is just $15,000. So again, very good shape for the majority of the items on this page. The other tidbit or neat little feature on this is that each of the headers are actually links to the corresponding report. So if you see something here that looks like it needs to be investigated further, just click on the link and it'll take you to the specific report that you're looking into. So if you click on, say, the expense section down here, it would open up the financial report. And these reports, they do load very quickly. It's again, it's Power BI, so it's pulling in a lot of information very quickly and very efficiently. The main reports, your financial, service parts, sales and inventory, and AR and AP are all set up very similar. They all start with a summary page, giving you a quick snapshot of what you're looking at, and then followed up by detail pages. Each one then follows into some detailed reporting pages. And the financial report, one of my favorite ones, it gives you that it gives you a deep dive look into where you're at just across the board financially. Gross profit, expenses as percent of gross profit, how you're doing compared to your goals, what your assets and liabilities are, what your ROA and ROE for the time period we've selected. Right now we're setting it for August. Gross profit, total expenses, net profit, it's all broken out for you by location as well, so you can see which location was the most profitable and if any of them were struggling and need additional attention. The next page on here, I'm not going to hit every single page, but I do want to hit some of the highlights. And this one really kind of tells the story because it tracks the historical net profit throughout the year, what your year-to-date net profit is compared to previous years. And again, this dealer is having a really good year, with 2025 being one of the most profitable years since 2020. All the leadership insights reports go back 5 years, so they should have information from 2020 through 2025. Next year, it'll be 2021 through 2026. The cumulative total, or you can look at it as a monthly total to see how each month compared to the previous years, going all the way back to 2020. The next page is a gross profit review page. Now you'll see there is an income page and a cost of sale. They're set up identical, but the gross profit page is probably where I spend the majority of the time because it breaks down the individual departments, both income and cost of sale, to give you your gross profit. A lot of the reports in Power BI, you'll see these extra little plus signs next to things. That's your drill down, where you can drill down further into the detail. So we're looking at gross profit for the new department. Then you can break it down into individual units, and you expand it further. You get the cost of sale and the sale. Expand it again. You'll get the category description and finally the GL account. So if you need to do some additional investigating, granted you're not going to see individual GL entries here in Leadership Insights, but it'll give you the account number where you can go back into G2 and look at those additional details if you need to. A couple of the things that are hidden on this page that some of the dealers miss during training is these gold buttons actually take you to additional pages. One of my favorites is the year-over-year comparison. So right now we've chosen August of 2025 as the period we're looking at. If I go to the year-over-year comparison, this will show me all the Augusts going back to 2020 to see how they compare for all departments, or I can choose an individual department to see how it compares to other August. 2021 was a good year, obviously, and they've come real close to matching that number And then I think in service, I call you, they've actually had their best August they've had in 6 years at this location. So again, good things for that location. You can look at different time periods. If you want to look at July, if you want multiple selections, just hold down the control key and you can choose multiple different periods to compare. And now we're comparing report for the period 6/1 through 8/30 of each year, going all the way back. And then the table below gives you those details. With Power BI, there's a lot of little hidden things as well. You can export. If you go to more options over this, more options, and then you can export that data into an Excel spreadsheet where you can share specific information and do additional analysis, additional investigations, whatever you want to do. But you can actually export this stuff right out to Excel, so you can look at it and use it as you see fit. The other hidden page that was on that gross profit page was the goal tracker. And the goal tracker, if you're using the budgeting tool in IDS's G2, goals will be pulled in directly into Leadership Insights, and you'll get a comparison and a percentage of completion calculation, so you can see which stores are doing better than others, individual stores, or overall how you're doing month over month. And if you hold down the control key and select a couple of years, you get that full couple year trend month over month, what the goal was, what the income or what the gross profit was, and so forth. And again, below you can drill down into those additional details, going all the way down to the description level on the individual departments, or looking at the locations side by side. And if you'll notice, there's tons of conditional formatting throughout to draw the eye to those positive and negatives very quickly. The other page, of course, we've got that same setup for expenses, where you can look at the goal tracker or the year-over-year comparisons, but instead of breaking it out into department, we're breaking it into the major categories, personnel, fixed, and so forth, but you can still look at it by department. So if you want to look at how the new car department is faring across all locations, you can still see those expenses that are allocated to that department across all locations. So it gives you tons of flexibility and how you want to slice your data and how quickly it can be sliced. If you notice, it was very quickly. And then obviously we've got a balance sheet review, so you can take a deep dive into the assets and liabilities and equity of the dealerships. The next report we're going to take a look at is the service and parts report. Again, it does take a second to come up, but it's a lot faster than most other systems, that's for sure. All right, so again, starts off with a nice summary page giving you the rundown of the whole department, sales profitability, invoice profits, breakdown of percentage of profits produced from parts invoices or work orders, looking at the individual work orders, labor profit, work order profit, work order parts profit, extra profit, sublet, so forth. And then of course we have repair event cycle time down here for everybody to keep track of live throughout the month. So they can see how they're doing in what areas and what dealerships or locations might need to see what they can do to improve and compare to other dealerships in the group, parts by age and so forth. So again, you get that quick snapshot, but then behind that, you've got a ton of other detail pages, and we're not going to go through every one of them. I just want to kind of hit the highlights. You can, of course, see overall operational performance. You can look at completed work orders. You can look at it by category or location. You can see that it's broken out by the sources, extra, labor, parts, sublet, the margin, gross profit margins for all those. The individual work orders are listed, so if you need to look at them, you can, and see exactly what was broken out in each. If you click on one, you see additional detail as far as the parts involved in that invoice, what the customer's name was, and so forth. So there's a ton of information in these reports, and a lot of different ways you can slice and dice it, so to speak. There are comparisons, preset comparisons, so you can do a quick look to see year to date to this year compared to year to date last year. Then it'll tell you up in the corner year to dates through September of 2025, September 9th of 2024, and how are we doing. And again, this dealer group is doing very well with some nice increases across the board. And then the individual locations they can look at and see who's had the better increases, who's fallen behind, and so forth. So it gives you some really good, quick information that you can react to and act on. other one we will look at, you can obviously keep an eye on open work order reviews, but more importantly, what I like to look at is the individual reviews. You got a technician review page where you can look at the efficiency, proficiency, and productivity of all techs that are on. If you want to choose a single location, so you can kind of narrow it down a little bit, and you can track theirs over time, which is one of the things I really like, is you're not just looking at that quick snapshot of what they did last month, which is right here, but you can see that over time, if they're improving, if they're declining, if they need a little encouragement to get going, or a data boy for going the right direction. So it gives you some really quick tools to have those one-on-one conversations with the techs or even the service writers. So you can take a look at, total hours billed, what their effective labor rates are, what their average sales per work order is, what their average hours billed per work order are, and obviously what their average repair event cycle time is. So it gives you that information, again, trending over time, so you can really see where those, where people are improving, or just the folks that just need a little extra encouragement. The other page I want to point out, we do pull in the service receivables, so that if the people that are responsible for those receivables can see which ones are lagging behind or which ones aren't. And these are all fake names because we didn't want to identify the group that we're using, so we stuck in a lot of fake names, but these are probably like warranty companies or something like that. And if you click on one individual one, you can get over here and see all their individual invoices, the actual date, age of the invoices, the dollar amounts, and so forth. So it gives them that quick information that they can use to monitor. You can look at it as an overall group, but within the individual stores can look at it to monitor how their accounts receivable is doing on service works and warranty. So it gives them that quick tools to dive into that information. The other one we'll take a look at, we've got obviously parts inventory. The parts inventory analysis page is a pretty powerful tool because it'll pull in all the individual parts that you've sold during the last 12 months, how many you sold, what the total cost of sales was, how many you have on hand, dollars and counts, what your month supply is based on cost of sale, what your month supply, week supply, parts turns per year, and parts on order, how many you've got on order. So they've this group has done a really good job. Obviously, they're turning parts very quickly. Got about a 5-week supply of parts on the ground. So, but from here you can select individual parts to look at their performance over time, or you can actually do a search for a part by using the little filter pane on the side here and typing in an ID for a part number that you specifically want to look for to see if you need to be doing some ordering or if you need to back off your ordering from it. And then all the reports pull in financial information on one page, and that's the accessories or the goals pages, where it'll actually pull in that budgeting tool that we have, budgeting tool that we have in G2. If you're using it, it'll pull that information right over out of the GL. Okay. And the last one, it doesn't look great on the sample data because it's kind of a snapshot across the whole United States based on our sample data that we have. So it kind of looks kind of weird. But if for an individual dealer, this would be highlighting, just their sales market. And from this heat map, you can look and say, okay, maybe we need to think about expanding into another area because we seem to be getting a lot of service work from that area. So this will give your marketing team some good information and possibly expansion plans. All right, I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it into the chat. There's a little question mark clicker or icon up in the top right-hand corner of the presentation window. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in there. I'll be glad to answer them when we get done here. The next report we're going to take a look at is the sales and inventory standard report. And again, just like all the others, it starts off with a summary page, providing that quick snapshot of all the areas that sales and inventory encompasses. Sales, number of units, selling amounts, gross profits, profit per unit, margins, what percentage of goals, what each salesperson is doing. And here I'm going to take a moment to pause because another one of those hidden Power BI tools is called focus mode. And you'll see that in just about every one of the visuals you highlight. But this one, you can't quite see the whole visual because there's a lot of folks to look at. So if you click on focus mode, it'll take that visual to a full page review, so you can look at it. Basically, the whole visualization is more readable. So it gets it in there quick, and again, you can export that information to an Excel spreadsheet if you want to disseminate it against for the salespeople or something like that to keep them competitive. F&I income by location, F&I numbers broken out, and of course inventory by days in stock. And another one of those powerful little interactive tools that I want to point out. Notice location BCG seems to have a pretty large stack of units that are between 181 days and 270 days old. If you right click on any of the column like this and show data point as a table, that'll actually just show you the units at that location that are between 180 and 270 days old. This can then be exported to an Excel spreadsheet that, or maybe you want to go through and add spiffs to it, get that list out to the team that, hey, these are getting agey, we want to get rid of them, so please show them first, type of thing. So there's a lot of hidden tools within this, but once you get used to it and see somebody use it, hopefully it'll come in handy for you and you can put it to good use. All the raised areas are what you can slice and dice the data by, so you can look at just new units or just used or even consignment if you're doing those. If you want to look at any wholesale sales, you can look at those. If you want to look at just your pending sales and what you've got coming in, that's last month. Let's go to this month for pending sales. See how many pending sales you have looking to possibly delivered for the month. If you've got anything on sold order, you can click quickly and see that type of information. And again, summary page starts off that report, but then there's a ton of individual detail reports behind it. The sales detail page is probably one of the more powerful ones because it's showing you your profitability during the selected time period. So if we're looking at last month, FS sales, these are the sales that were booked last month that added profit to that period. The next page is a deals this period page, and that's more about production. This page is all about when was it sold. So if you had a promotion or a show, during the last 2 weeks of last month, you can sort it by just those 2 weeks of last month to see who sold the most during the sale. You can deal counts by salesperson, activity by location, and so forth. But that's more about the production, not necessarily profitability. It's when they were sold, and as you know, there's obviously sometimes a delay between when it's sold and when it gets delivered. The goals pages, again, it bleeds in from the GL. You get the F&I details page. The F&I manager review is where you can look at the individual F&I managers to see how well they're performing against the other managers in the group, not just in the percentage of F&I, but product sales as well as far as penetrations go. So you can click on an individual F&I manager. You can see exactly what the results were for the period selected. That's one of the more powerful pages, I think, especially when there's F&I involved. And then, of course, with the inventory pages, you can review the inventory age across the board. But that same with Saul and the parts in the service and parts report is that inventory analysis page, giving you the 12-month unit sales, how many you've got on hand, how many are inbound, how many are sold available pending sales, how many on order, what your month supply is, how many inventory turns a year you're doing. So it gives you that information very quickly, and it can be drilled down all the way down to the model level, so you can see the individual models and how they're performing. And this is a very, very powerful tool when you're looking at ordering, because it can give you some really quick information, very actionable information that you can use when placing those orders. And then, of course, the heat map that you see at the end, just like with the other one, it's not going to look great in this because it's our sample data from all across the country, because we don't want to identify which dealer is letting us use their data. But you get the idea that if you have a bunch of sales, you'll see it all by different colors by location, and you can determine where maybe you want to do some additional advertising or look for expansion into the different regions. And that is about it on the highlights. Again, do we have any questions regarding these reports? I know I've had probably a little bit too much caffeine this morning, but just type away if you have a question.
And for any of our existing users of Leadership Insights, please feel free to reach out to myself directly, John Simmons, Don Miller, because there's probably going to be some questions that come up. For those that are not currently using IDS, this is some of the highlight reel, right? So the multi-store accounting, budgeting tools that we offer, and the ability to slice and dice, as well as having multiple stores up at the same time. We have groups that have 40 stores or 2 or 3 stores utilizing this tool and really maximizing its abilities. If there's no questions today, like I said, we're here to answer any questions down the road, as well as even potentially spin up your own data, and we can give you a comprehensive review and demonstration of it as well too. So, Don, do you see anything in the question box at this stage?
Not a question, but a comment. John mentioned that the summary pages are well planned out. All the top KPIs all in one place. So he liked it. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, we really appreciate everybody taking the time today. So this is the first of many future lunch and learns, as I like to call them, with Don and our team here at IDS Marine, trying to bring you some groundbreaking technology. So I just want to thank each and every one of you, wherever you are. Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we will keep up and talk to you soon. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.